Real life.
Superpowers.
Up in the sky, it's a bird.
It's a plane!
Gentlemen, we can rebuild him. We have the technology.
It's alive!
Real life.
Superpowers.
We're here with Ishay Green, serial entrepreneur and investor after, is it 2 exits?
It's 2 exits, classical exits, and I have another 2 exits from secondary.
What is secondary exit?
So secondary is like the opportunity to take stocks that you have in a private company and sell it to someone. And it's something that was very important for me since I'm not working right now, guys. Do you have anything for me? Anyway, so I did now recently an exit doing secondary, selling stocks for Monday.
Right.
Monday, the task management platform.
Yes.
So you got rid of your stock?
No. Just I sold like a bit of it, which was for a lot of money. And it was very easy. I just said I need some cash to the investors, Insight Ventures.
And they were happy to take your stock from you.
They said, what's the price? I said, much higher than I thought that they're going to pay. And they said, no problem. And like in a day, like it was executed and all the investors just bought.
So are you sure it was a smart move?
It was a smart move because I need the cash, I run on this, this is how I live.
Your fuel.
Right.
Yes, this is the fuel. Exactly. This is the fuel on times that you are between when you don't get salary.
As a serial investor and an entrepreneur, how do you know how to invest in Monday or in any other thing? Like, how do you decide?
Okay, I see the machine. I'm okay. We talked about superpowers,
Right.
Okay, so I have something which it's not a superpower. I'm not that good at this, but I think that rich people. I was a poor boy from Netanya.
Okay.
And rich people has something in common. They understand something about money. Okay, and this is something that I have. I understand something about money, and I understand how money flows. When I look at the world, I see how money flows between hands and how it goes. And when I look at a startup company, I can tell if they figured out the money machine. And what is like the best way to understand what is a money machine? Go to Google. I'm waiting. Open Google.
Okay.
You don't need to do this. I'm just saying. And look for the Uber napkin. You know Uber napkin?
Right.
Okay, Uber napkin is like it's this drawing that shows how they described Uber before they founded it, and it's like if you have more drivers, you have more coverage. Mm-hmm. Yes, if you have more coverage, you have more demand. You have it's a machine that you can, if you influence each one of the
Like
the
a
points,
flywheel.
yes, of this wheel, you get more money generated.
Right.
So Monday is a company like this, and another one is ShopTagger, another amazing company that I'm invested in, which is like very, very successful. It's under the radar. It's a consumer company, but it's going to explode in the next year, I guess. And in other companies that I've seen that they have this machine, and I can recognize this machine.
But the recognizing the machine. Wait a second. Let's talk about that for a second. There's execution. So, right, the business model, you got it, and you understand the logic of it, but there's the whole execution.
Machine. No, the machine is everything, It's the execution, the code, the GitHub.
But when did you reach this clarity? Because clearly this has to be something, you must have made a lot of mistakes, and I'm sure you're still investing in companies that
I didn't do
maybe
any
shouldn't have.
mistakes. Seriously, I didn't invest.
So you hacked money.
Yes, I can see this. I can make it happen, especially with my companies. This is what I believe, that I can do this.
And so far it's been proven right.
Yes, because I was a poor boy, poor in the sense that I didn't have money. My parents are not rich, and on the contrary, they had like
Didn't have money.
No, I mean they owe money to the banks.
Oh,
What do you call
debt.
this? They have debts.
Debt.
And anyway, I had to cover for this debt. And
At what age?
it's a different story. Okay, when I was young, I was
Okay.
working to fund my parents and
Wow.
to fund my father. And the worst part was when I founded my first company, Onigma. Before funding it, I did an exit from Envara. I made $22,000. And I said, okay, I have enough money to start my own company. And on the same week that I left Intel, Intel has been acquired in Bar. I left Intel. I was at my home thinking about my next venture alone, with no co-founder, nothing, no idea. And my father comes to me and says, Shuk Afar.
Yeah, okay. So
How do you say
black
shuk?
market.
How do you say Shuk Afar?
The black market.
Black market.
Right.
So in Hebrew, it's
It's
gray
gray
market.
market. I don't know why. But
Gray because it's,
because,
it's gray.
because in Israel,
On
you
the
can
verge
do
of
gray
litigation.
market.
They said they're going to kill me.
Yeah.
I owe them money.
Right.
So
wow.
I need, yes. And then I went to the bank. And in the bank, Bank Poalim, which I will never work with Bank Poalim because they were shit to me. Anyway, I fixed it. And I had to take a loan and I fixed it for my father. And this is where I come from.
Right.
Okay?
Right. So, okay, that must be really big motivation there. Okay, so you start, like, this is crazy for me because you're actually starting these companies and you're selling them because you said you hacked money. I have a question for you. As a person who sold at least, let's not talk about the secondary, at least 3 companies, okay? Why don't you keep them if you hacked already the money for like 100 years? Why are we keep leveraging them?
So let's take the first exit. Okay, Onigma. Onigma could become, we invented something which is known today as data loss prevention, which is a huge field.
Mm-hmm.
And if we would keep on going with Onigma, it could be $1 billion company. And we sold it for $20 million. And you ask yourself, okay, we were young. We were 26 years old. We wanted to see the money. And if we were in Silicon Valley, we were billionaires maybe.
Right.
But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because this is what I recently realized at the age of 40, that the question is how much money does it... Okay, money is a taboo. Talking about money, you are shit. You're rich, why do you talk about money? Okay, so fuck you, I'm going to talk about money.
Right.
Okay? And the question is how much money does a person need?
What's the answer?
I have an answer. So money is energy. What is it? It's like a form of energy because you can take $100 and make someone carry something for you X miles, okay?
Right.
So it's energy. You work very hard, okay? You invest energy, you convert it into a number, which is energy, which is money, and then you can reconvert it. You can pay someone to do something, some work for you. For
I
this
like
money.
that. Okay.
So the question, how much money do you need? The amount of money that you need is the money that you want, the force that you want to imply on the world, okay? So let's say homeless person, he doesn't want to, like people, I'm really into homeless people. I talk about homeless people because...
You talk to them?
Yes, I talk to them and I help homeless and I use my money to help homeless people to eat and to buy drugs and whatever they need to do. I don't
That's
judge
definitely
them.
because where you came from. Okay.
Because he's my father. Never mind. My father is like a homeless person. Anyway, so these people, they don't want to imply any force on the world. They're not interested.
Right.
They don't care.
But maybe
They want
they're
a
just
minimal
surviving.
impact on the world. Okay, if you take a billionaire, like there is a quote that I really love of Mr. Burns.
Right.
Says, like Homer tells Mr. Burns, Mr. Burns, you're the richest man I know. So Mr. Burns answers, says, yes, and I would trade it all for a little bit more. Okay? The philosophy of a billionaire, some of the billionaires, is like trading all their billions for a little bit more. And then you see guys like Fishman,
Right.
which is an Israeli billionaire that has nothing now.
Right.
Nothing. And you see Dankner also, nothing. From billions to nothing. Why? Because they wanted a little bit more.
So greed.
So it's not greed. The amount of energy they want to enforce on the world is huge.
But
okay?
is it ego
Elon
or
Musk,
a need to...
Elon Musk needs these billions, okay, because he wants to get to Mars. This is what he wants. He
Yeah,
thinks
but
that
the homeless person just needs $1 to eat. So it's just a different...
Yeah, but that's the
hierarchy.
output. That's the output. He's saying money is an energy. Correct me if I'm... So what that means is what he needs as force of energy is just the food. That's enough for him. So he needs that X amount for the amount of food. It doesn't mean that he won't, after he has $1,000,
Yeah.
maybe consume more with that
Yeah.
energy. But he sees it as fuel. Because when, I'll give you an example, like I'll give a metaphor that I think I'll help him out with that. If I'm 90 year old person and I have $7 billion or I have $7 million, it may not make that much of a difference because I don't want to have that much output right now. I'm actually thinking about the next generation and less, You know how when you get older, you're already saying, okay, I don't need that much money. I'm just going to go to real estate, 3% interest per year. Okay. Because you don't want that output. So you don't need that much because you don't want to output that much energy. So
But it's
Elon
privileged
Musk that
thinking.
wants to go to Mars has to put so much money into
No,
that
it's
output.
not.
It's
If
not
you-
privileged thinking.
No, if you have like someone who is like very calm, very likes his life, like my uncle, he called me from the US yesterday, from New York, and I thought that he wants something. He said, Ishay, I don't want anything. I was just interested in what's going on with you. He said, so you happy with your work? He said, yeah, well, I'm happy. So I'm happy with and my wife, yes, everything is cool. So he's like my uncle from the US, Yakir. He's happy with his life. He doesn't want millions, okay? He doesn't need a yacht. He doesn't want to go business in every flight to Israel, okay? He's happy with his life. So the amount of energy that he collects, and let's talk about me. The question is that, and I realize that I don't need more money. So I have enough money right now,
To make the
thanks
impact.
to Monday and thanks to other investments that I made and thanks to reducing my burn rate, which is still a lot, enough money to retirement, okay? And it's a little bit less, okay? So not because I count on other incomes that are going to come from the future, but I have like enough money. And this brings me to the next phase of not trying to make more money and using this virtue of making money, but to think about something else.
Like passion, good, doing something valuable to the world, having fun at work. Like what would be something else for you?
I don't know yet. So
Okay.
I'm in the process. I'm been now, the last salary I got from Spot.IM is this month, which was very big salary because I had a lot of days of vacation. I got like very generous living package. Yeah, living package from Spot.IM, including a secondary. So I'm fine with leaving the company. The company is led by Nadav Shoval and it's going to succeed. I know he's doing everything to make it succeed, and he's working very hard, and it's profitable. It's a very good.
What is
very
he?
good
Is he your recruitment?
Yeah, I met him when he was 20.
Okay.
Now he's 27.
Okay.
He was my CEO. I always bring a CEO. This is another switch that I'm doing right now.
Bringing someone instead
I'm
of
going to
you
be
as
the
a
CEO
Oh.
Of what? Of whatever you do?
of the project that I'm doing.
Why?
Because I understand that a company is only one leader, and I see myself as a leader right now. So I'm the leader. And if you need to understand corporate law in just in minutes, it means that the board of directors is responsible on hiring and firing the CEO, and the CEO is responsible on hiring and firing the employees. So it doesn't matter that you are the CTO of a company, the founder, and you invented the idea. It doesn't mean anything. Only the CEO is important.
Or-
The CEO is the king.
No, board of directors would be the king, or chairman would be the king.
No. The board
There's a lot of legal
cannot take any
philosophies
decision.
about that.
The board cannot take any decision. He can just fire the CEO. The CEO can do whatever he wants.
As
Okay.
a lawyer, not practicing, I can tell you there's legal philosophies about that. So there's those who say that the CEO is at the top of the pyramid, and then there's those who say it's just a regular corporate organization of board of directors. But the CEO is definitely the one who is executing and leading at the actual management. I think the only way to understand this otherwise is to understand that his powers are limited, but that's always the case.
Who's limited?
The CEO's powers.
No, he can like go to the office and kill all the employees, fire everyone.
No,
He can do whatever he wants. No one can tell the
On
CEO
a
what to
day-to-day
do.
basis,
no,
pretty much.
except if you're public or something like that.
No, even if it's public, he can do whatever he wants.
But
they
he can get
fire
kicked
him.
out.
Right.
Yeah.
The only thing that the board can do is fire the CEO. The CEO is paying the salary of its peers, and the peers do execute what the CEO tells them, and that's it. This is 100% of the laws.
But it's
of
also
how
a
it
matter
works.
of how much the board is involved, because some boards really set the roadmap and just ask the CEO to sort of execute. And some companies allow a lot more agility.
Again, let's get to the detail of this. No one can tell. Okay, let's go in even to something very basic. Okay, no one can tell you what to do. I cannot tell you what to do. I cannot force you to do anything on a person, unless it's something very, very violent, and we're not talking about this. So every person can do whatever he wants. The CEO executes whatever he wants. The board can say, build a spaceship to go to the Mars, and he can build a car. He can do whatever he wants. They can fire him. This is the only power that they have. Just fire the CEO.
Wait, so just out of curiosity, so you're saying now you're going to be the CEO.
Yeah, so they could fire me. This is the only
I
power they're
understand.
going to
No,
have.
I understand. But in the backcourt, that means on the other companies, do you feel that if you were CEO, things would happen differently? Or would you like them to happen differently? Or would you just want to empower yourself instead of empowering other people all the time?
I don't. Since I'm an entrepreneur, I don't look at the past that way. You know, what happened, and this is what part of the experience. But now I'm going to lead. That's it.
Did you not lead before?
I led the group until a point that you had, like in Soluto, we had $20 million in the bank. So my leadership was questioned because when you have such an amount of money, and again, Spot.IM got to $30 million in cash from round.
Mm-hmm.
So when you have $30 million, so you say, okay, the smart CTO that, is not that important anymore. And they're right. Like, maybe they're right. For Soluto, it was a good idea. We got to $100 million exit.
So what is important once you have that much money? If it's not the CEO?
What makes companies succeed very much? This is what you ask? I don't know. What do you ask?
I'm just trying to understand. You said that it's at a certain point when there's enough money, then the leadership isn't as important. Is that what you mean?
No, I mean that the leader...
I'll tell you, I'm going to ask you a personal question on myself, because this is something actually I'm thinking about a lot, because you're saying something interesting. I'm trying to decide for myself, and I'm checking if maybe what is amazing about you is that you're amazing at 0.0 to 1 and 0.8 to 10. Okay? And what's in the middle is there's other people who are better than that. Okay? And what I mean when I say these numbers, I mean there's people who, I'm going to give a metaphor, build Disneyland, which is the idea from nothing. There's people who build the whole, the rides themselves. And there's people who manage the rides, okay? And it may be three types of people. So maybe the leader, you'll call him, let's say, Walt Disney, okay, which is the brother was the finance guy. So he made that idea and he made it a reality. I don't know if in the bits of bytes, he was the person, I'm guessing even no. And there was someone else who built those rides inside. And under that, there was people who made those rides. And maybe something that you're excellent at, or call it a superpower, is making it a reality for other people to do those executions. Okay, maybe at that you're, let's say, the best at that, and at doing the managing the rides, we'll call it the rides or the day-to-day or whatever. Maybe there's people who are better than you at that.
Yes,
of course. Maybe it's that. It's not, I don't need the brilliant CTO.
Yeah, but you can still, the point is this, the title CEO is very critical, so someone else can do the boring, for me, execution of day-to-day,
right?
But still I can be the CEO, okay?
I see.
So this is the wrong... The wrong move that I did each time is that I could bring these guys that were like in the beginning of the road as entrepreneurs. I already did one exit, even with Tomer, and I said, you're going to be the CEO. And since he was the CEO, okay, I was getting unimportant. So he could do the same work without the title CEO, and then I would be the CEO, and I could lead the company into $1 billion. Because I think that Soluto should have been $1 billion company.
Right.
It could have been. Because operating system of operating systems is something that does not exist today.
I agree. Brilliant idea.
And we need it.
Wait, let's talk about that for a second, because I think Soluto is brilliant. So tell us what Soluto does, so listeners know that.
It's used to do, but it was taken to a different road, to an exit, because we weren't willing to make money, okay? And we were in the field that companies made billions. I'm not saying just billions like in the same. They made billions from downloads. Okay, everyone knows it. You talked about Crossrider, which made, it's not billions because they came late to the game, but they still made a lot of money. We were first in the game of downloads. And we didn't execute on this. And the companies next to us made billions in cash. And this is one thing. If I was the leader, it was clear to me that we should do this. Anyway, this is water under the bridge. I'm not interested in this because we talked about money. And
just Soluto what they did, because I think the idea is brilliant.
The idea was to create operating system of operating systems. That's it. You don't need to understand in Windows or in Mac or Android or iOS. You just press on a button on the web. You have the software installed, configured, removed. If you have a problem, it's fixed it automatically. And it was different times of operating systems. Operating systems changed since then.
He's
So let
taking
me
like,
add- yeah.
he's taking like such complex notions, and he has this tendency to simplify them, I think.
So wait for it. I'm now back to your machine, financial machine. So if I take Soluto as an example, what would be the machinery, the finance machinery? You see the money, right? So how did you see that there?
I've seen it there from downloads. We've seen that the toolbars business
Right.
were very huge. So we should have joined the trip,
Definitely.
collect the money, and use it to create the best operating system of the world.
Right.
The operating system of operating systems. Instead of
True.
going to venture capitalists and bringing $20 million in like scaling the business like crazy and creating a new operating system.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, it didn't happen. Spot.IM, it's another story. If we're getting a social network, a new social network on the web, we have 500 million uniques. We have in the world, 7.5 billion people. 500 million of these humans in the world surf in some way to Spot.IM.
Wow.
And the idea was when we get to this amount of traffic, we
Monetize?
can monetize, we're monetizing, but when we get to this amount of traffic, we can create a product which is going to be engaging enough to create subculture of social network.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, I'm not there, so I cannot influence on this.
Right.
We had few ideas how we're going to do this. So the first idea is, we want, the idea of Spot.IM was we want to create a social network in the age of social networks. You have Facebook, Instagram, so we need the people. So how do we get to the people? We had few spin-offs until we got to the realization that the people are on the web anyway. They're browsing to articles. They're browsing the articles. If they're browsing the articles, let's get the engagement from the article, the context of the article, and then bring it to the next step.
But isn't that what Facebook does in many ways?
No, Facebook is a different thing. Like it's a talkback system. So we created the biggest talkback system on the web. So Spot.IM is the biggest one on the internet. Anyway, it's not in my control right now, so
Right.
it's yet to be defined.
Right. And
Let's talk about the present and the future.
No, bro, we're getting there.
Oh, we're
so
getting there? Okay.
let's talk about it now. So
Okay.
after doing this, so you sold a company, sold another company, invested in a company, sold secondary. So I think in a high-tech sense, you sort of done everything. Like you acted as an entrepreneur, as an investor, as a CTO, because you always worked in your own companies. So you have this collective idea of a lot of different also industries. And you're also a high-tech celebrity. So as a sense that you know everything now, what do you want to do?
Okay, so I think that the high tech is changing very much.
Why?
It's changing. So when I started, we were creating the infrastructure. I was working for Envara. We created Wi-Fi. I programmed the driver of Wi-Fi of Intel. Like I have code in the Intel. I'm sure they threw it already, but so I did Wi-Fi. I did ADSL for ORCID. ADSL, if you
Is it
don't
as a
know,
programmer or
as a programmer for hardware. I was hardware programmer, from the PC side, from the driver side. So I did ADSL with ORCID, which is, ADSL. Everyone knows it, yes, of course. And I did fiber to the home with Passave, which been acquired by PMC Sierra. So I did all these infrastructures, and it's done. Okay, the infrastructure is done. It's commodity.
it's ready?
Okay, chip of Wi-Fi when we created it cost $100, and now it costs less than 20 cents. Like the Wi-Fi chip costs
Commoditized
nothing.
completely.
Yes. And there was another level of technology in the world of creating let's say DLP, data loss prevention, like this layer of software of technology, and it's done. Okay? And now there is the business layer, and this is the problem of Israel, I think.
What?
So, because creating businesses, let's take Monday is an example of a business. Okay, it's a business.
Mm-hmm.
Now the problem is that if you today, funding a startup, building a startup today, it's very, very hard. Something which is going to be big, because if you say startup, it means that it's going to worth $1 billion. Okay,
That's the expectation.
it's not a startup; it's a business. You can do business and it's fine. But if you want to do a startup, it
That
means
has to
that
be
it
the
gets
end
to
game.
yes. If it doesn't get to $1 billion, it's not a startup.
Mhm.
And I think that the billion-dollar companies are already on the road. So to invent right now a billion-dollar company, it's very, very rare and hard. And I've been sitting for a year now thinking about this. And I'm meeting a lot of startups, and I see the ideas. The ideas is very nice businesses, very nice. They're going to become rich, the entrepreneurs. I'm not saying that you can't make money from high tech anymore, but building now a billion-dollar company becomes very, very hard. Why? You know why? Why do you think?
Because there's less maybe different technologies and things to tap into and invent. Like there's the structures are sort of set.
Because
Finding a unique business,
because the big companies are taking everything. Okay?
Right.
If you take Google, search for a vacation now in Google, you have like all these hotels.
Right.
The next step is going to be you have a click, book now. Everyone use it right now. Yeah, you have book now, and it opens like Expedia and all these options, hotels.com, ta. The next step is they're going to kill these options, and you're going to order from Google.
Just from them.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, so it's a different notion. The big companies who have traffic,
they're eating the base
because
of the
they have
pyramid.
traffic.
Because they have the attention.
You have the attention.
Because they have the control.
Yes, and you have they're splitting the world in a way which is cartel, like the Medellin cartel,
Right.
Splitting United States, who sells cocaine to whom.
So who are we talking about?
So we think, they want us to think that they're competing Amazon and Google, but they're not. They splitted the world in a very clear way.
You think it's just those two players? Or
No.
it's more like five, right?
It's 5 and others, okay, they're joining the game, but these 5 are the biggest problem. So what interests, let's just talk about the difference between Google and Facebook. Facebook is about virtual, relations, and Google is about real things in the world. So small businesses, and that's it. So they split the world between them. They are not stepping on each other yet. When they're going to become big enough, they're going to start eating each other because infinity is not enough for these people. Anyway, so let's talk about the scary thing.
What's the scary thing?
About what happens to people's brains because of this age, this time, okay? And how the big companies and the politicians are using this in order to control the masses, which we are part of them. Me and you, we are not better, okay? So I'm not talking as someone who is above the system. No one is above the format, okay? Everyone is in this format and lives in this format, okay?
The format being our brains, or the format being the outside?
The format is the world. Like, we are stuck in this format, which is how things work, okay? How money works, how everything works. So I always had the hunch, there is like Kahneman and Tversky.
Famous researchers about rationality.
Yes, so they said the irrational and not by mistake. This is how it's translated.
I can't remember the precise name, but yes, it's exactly what the message.
So they talk about this concept that everyone knows. You have like you have expensive bottle of wine that you know and like, and a cheap one that you don't like. So you're going to take the expensive one that you like. It doesn't matter how much money you have, like you're going to take the one that you know. If you're going to add the one in the middle that's going to have mid-price that you don't know, you're going to take the mid-price, like in average. And this is the irrationality of people. So if you're going to have just these two, you're going to take the one that you want. And if you have something else, you're going to choose, why do you do this? So they got an overprice for these examples,
right?
For these irrationalities. So, and they have, and the other part of their research is like explaining why people take this decision, and they do psychology and this stuff. And I felt that this is not right, the explanations.
And you also have a psychological background, right?
Yes, I have psychological background in terms that I'm getting treated in psychoanalysis for 12 years. I've read all of translated Freud's literature to Hebrew. I didn't learn German to read the Freud, and I understand Freud. I understand why he was right. Freud described the first floor of the psycho, of how people are built in terms of psychology, and then there are other floors of other psychoanalysts and other people that have other stuff to add. But the basic is right. What he found out about human beings, I think it's something which is generally right about everyone. Anyway, so using my knowledge on psychoanalysis and applying it to what they claim that makes people take this decision, vote for Trump, vote for Bibi, I don't know, I felt that something is wrong until I've seen a recent study of something that proved that my hunches. And the reason that people take these irrational decisions is because they have electricity shortcuts. This is how we call this?
Okay.
Ketzer?
Yeah, electricity shortcuts.
Short circuit
So it's short circuit.
Right.
And
in their brain.
so there is a guy which is a researcher that I know from a very smart researcher, and he proved using worms that's called C. elegans. There
Okay.
are worms that have 302 neurons on their brain. They're very special worms. There were 4 Nobel Prizes won on these worms.
Okay.
Okay.
These worms, the brain is similar to a human one. Like how do you compare?
It's a brain. It's not like
how
human
are
brain.
they benchmark?
It's just a brain.
It's a very small brain. 302 neurons. Okay, in the human brain you have millions.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's this worm is transparent, so you can see when she thinks.
Oh, okay.
And they gave it, and it's something it hasn't been published yet. This research, and when it's going to be, I think it's itself this research this proof. Anyway, what he managed to prove is that you give it like to smell stuff that he knows that he doesn't know. The worm, and he shows that there is, in some cases, when you have a specific smell, the worm takes a wrong decision and doesn't go to the food. It goes to a smell that she has never met. Okay, because she has overload on a specific node in her brain.
Okay.
So what do I claim? I claim that Facebook, and this is how I get to Facebook.
Okay.
They create these neural networks for you, for me, for everyone, okay? There is a neural network that sits inside Facebook. And what this neural network is trying to do is optimizing your engagement. How? It creates shortcuts in your brain in order to stay online. And this is one angle of how this system works, okay?
But
now
it's the opposite.
You cannot take psychotherapists that going to analyze the reason that you sit 40 minutes in Facebook and wasting your fucking life sitting on the toilet and you cannot walk afterwards.
It's not an addiction?
It's not. It's a mix. Let's go to the deeper analysis. Okay, it's partially. So how does it go? It makes your circuits, your brain malfunction. Okay, this is how it keeps you in these systems.
It's not tapping into your dopamine and getting it to one.
It's also dopamine, but it's not what's important. What's important that it makes you take a wrong decision every time. It keeps your brain in a loop. It's wrong because it's bad for your organism. Okay, it's not for your best interest to do this. Okay, it's not your best interest to choose a wine that you don't know and could be poison. Okay, the worm goes to a poison. Okay, he gives it a poison and it walks to a poison because his brain cannot take a decision. And the human beings, as Freud claimed, were built to live in a very quiet harmony, place. And when you have a tiger, you need like to get amygdala goes and then you need to run.
Yeah.
Now we live in a situation that every time you're being fed with these things. And now the crazy things and what makes Mark Zuckerberg, I'm talking, and I know it from internal people that sat with him, what is so interesting for him, what are they looking for, okay?
Facebook.
But Facebook. So there is something which is not known to people, but it's called frequency graph. It's a graph. I can describe this graph, and this is the only thing that interests for Facebook, and this is what's so scary about the future and the present of the world, okay? Frequency graph is a graph that you have on the y-axis, how many users, number of users. On the x-axis, you have how many days you use it. So let's talk about cocaine for a second, or let's talk about heroin. If you look at the heroin frequency graph of heroin, you say you have a little bit of users that use it once a month, heroin, okay? Like a little bit. More use it twice a month, more 3 times a month, okay? You get to 14 days. If you use heroin for 14 days a month, most probably you don't use it 15 days. Use it 28 days or 31 days, okay?
Like a tipping point.
Yes, the tipping point is 14 days, okay? Now, Zuckerberg has acquired Israeli company that's called Onavo.
Okay.
Onavo is a system that allows you to optimize your browsing in the mobile application, okay? This is what it does. Yes. It installs a proxy on your machine, on your telephone, and all the communication goes through it, and it like reduces the size of images and stuff. As a byproduct,
the actual experience of quick. Okay.
So the byproduct of Onavo is knowing everything that you do with your phone, and they have it on hundreds, like 100 million telephones. So Facebook has the frequency graph of all applications in the world. This is how
Because
they
they're mostly
purchased
using it. Onavo.
because of Onavo. So they purchased Onavo, and immediately they made an offer to WhatsApp and to Instagram. This is how they knew how to buy Instagram for $1 billion, because they had the frequency graph.
So they were able to put a price on engagement.
Yes. Now, the claim is this. There are no applications in this telephone, in your telephone, in my telephone, that doesn't have the addiction graph of heroin. Okay? So you used to have, like 10 years ago, applications that you use like 3 times a week. There is no such applications. Now, you think that there is, because you start thinking, I see a thing, and you think about Get Taxi, maybe. Or you think about, I don't know, like the Corkinet system.
Right, ready.
But this is a different category, because it's something that you need right now, and you execute on this.
You're talking about content.
Yes. And this is the scary thing. So if you don't have this graph of addiction of heroin, it doesn't work.
So it's either it's binary. So it's either you're going to use it constantly, or like in addict mode, or you're not going to use it.
So every invention that you have that is not in addict mode will not succeed today.
So we're all zombies.
Yes. And the worst thing is like this game that kids play. What's
Which
the
one?
name?
Fortnite.
Fortnite. This is heroin. Fortnite is heroin. And the grown-ups, they don't understand. When you look at this, you don't understand what the kid is experiencing, but it's like, if you want to understand what the kid is experiencing with Fortnite, you need to use cocaine. I never tried cocaine, but I know that what it does like to your brain, okay? Use cocaine and then play Fortnite, and then you understand what you do to your kid. And there are going to be generations of slaves right now, are being grown, like generations of hundreds of millions of billions of slaves that are slaves to this graph of heroin addiction. And this is
It can be
No,
controlled.
that's interesting, because what you're saying is there's like 5 companies, so a certain cartel, and they're going to be about 90% of your internet usage. And they decide for you how much of a slave you want to be.
By the
You know
way,
what I mean?
aren't they already?
Yeah, there's just, what he's saying is there's mature people who didn't go through that process. You're not talking about the young generation. The young generation is there.
I would argue though that
generation
they
is
did.
fucked.
I would actually argue along what you're saying that also mature people are already there, probably using the same consumption. But the younger generations are even more. Their brain is still being formed, and controlling their minds is even easier, especially when you have a sort of evil roadmap to do that. Do you think
Yeah.
that's the evil roadmap happening?
And this is the same way that Trump is getting elected, with the same
How?
thing.
Explain that.
People addicted to hear the Trump shit every day. They
You
need
think
to
that's
have
the
it.
reason?
Yes.
It's a malfunction.
Even Elon Musk is using this method
Yeah, he
for a
is.
good thing,
Explain.
because Elon Musk is good. Elon Musk is going to be remembered in 100 years from now as Albert Einstein is remembered today, as
I
Freud.
agree. Just bankrupt.
No.
I think so.
No, he's
I think
gonna get
gonna
to
be
Mars.
the guy
I'm with
who's,
Ishay.
they're only going to understand how brilliant he was in 100 years.
Nah,
No, everyone is going to, he's going to get us to be he's going to succeed.
I think so.
He's going to succeed.
Yeah, let's hope so.
But hang on,
Sure.
let's go back to Trump. Like, I want to understand that. I want to understand
Trump
why
and Bibi,
why
it's the
this
same.
is.
Bibi Netanyahu, it's the same method.
Yeah,
Even
okay,
though
but
they don't need the psychological explanation of why it works. It just
They don't even know they're
works.
doing it.
No one
but what is
knows
it?
why it works, because there is no explanation. The explanation is a shortcut in the brain. It's something
I have a question,
neurological.
though. But wait, can I ask you a question? If I see that in retrospect for a second, there was content like that. So like Jerry Springer, okay, or any reality show that was before the internet was really big, it works on that same malfunction?
No, it's becoming better on doing the same thing. Yes, it was the same, but it wasn't in the same intensity.
Why didn't you, as a child, did you have a Nintendo?
Yes, I had Nintendo actually, and I had also a PC.
I remember myself as a kid. I was playing every spare minute.
Yeah, but it was different because the friction was, okay, let's talk about sexuality a little bit. Okay,
Okay.
What is masturbation? What is masturbation? What is it? What is the definition?
What is it?
Masturbation is, you have like few qualities in masturbating, which is, I'm not talking about like the actual act of masturbating, like doing stuff which is saying you're masturbating. Okay?
Okay.
It's like you know that you're going to be הנאה מובטחת. Can you help me
Yeah,
translate?
Guaranteed pleasure.
Yeah.
Guaranteed pleasure. And הנאה מובטחת ולא נדרש מאמץ.
No effort.
No effort,
Effortless,
okay?
yeah.
Effortless. So you can see in all these things in Facebook, it's effortless. They just need to run this. And this is masturbation. And this is what these systems are doing, okay? And these politicians, and they're using the same method. Now, since this software, Facebook, how Facebook is linked to the election of Trump, it's linked because it's the same method of feeding your mind with this addiction to the person. So you don't know why.
So break that
but
down.
Even me, I think that maybe Bibi is good, you know?
Right.
And I know that he's shit. Okay, I know that he's not thinking of everything. He's just thinking about how to stay the king.
Right.
Okay?
No, but break that down for me. So Mary from Pennsylvania is now on Facebook, Tipping Point. She's there a few times a day.
Yes.
And she elected
She's
Trump.
consuming Trump the same thing.
So
She
explain that
doesn't-
to me, because there's other candidates. Why is she
creates-
consuming Trump?
Because Trump is simulating the same process that you're
How?
having on. I don't know. I don't have like explain. I cannot explain everything, but I'm saying this is like when you try to look the reason, because you take like a candidate that has like toxic reason to the masses and they don't elect him. Why? Why do people act in the way? Bibi is supposed to be good for me. He's Ashkenazi, he's a millionaire. Okay, he's good for the Tel Aviv people, and everyone in Tel Aviv is against Bibi, and the poor people are for Bibi. This is something which is irrational. Okay, we were supposed to be for Bibi because he's good for us, for the capitalists, for the people that want to have like good life. So the reason is that in some way they are tapping into the same method. And this is the tragedy. I don't know how to explain it, but the way that we are tackling this, it's not through explaining through psychoanalysis. Psychoanalysis or psychology is not the explanation of what's happening right now to the human race. The explanation is over inputs into this machine that's called the brain.
So brainwash.
Is that I'm going to try. I don't know if this
Yeah.
is really an explanation. I'm going to try, though. Think about what you see in YouTube or Facebook all the time. So they're giving you relative content to what you like. Okay, so you're
They're
going around.
optimizing and personalizing.
So
my
let's
brain.
say you like, what do you like?
Cats.
Cats.
Taking the
No,
mainstream example.
Let's get something like basketball, okay? Or you like politicians, okay? So what it starts to do, it knows that you're willing to listen to something for a minute, not more than that. Now, how do you make something interesting in a minute? Once upon a time, you'd have a storytell. You had to wait through the boring parts, have some really exciting parts, and have a boring part and a great ending. Now, in 2 minutes or 1 minute or half a minute, you have to make something exciting. So what can you do exciting? It has to be something crazy that Donald Trump said. Basketball player gets a slap in the face. You're not going to watch the whole game. So you're going to get slapped or something crazy that's going to happen. And then all the content is always crazy. Like, it's always, I'm thinking about the things that I scroll through. So I like these things. And I'm just going, and I'm always seeing, like, I think I saw 3 million times Michael Jordan scoring this, but I can keep on seeing it.
Stimulates you.
And like, I'm not stupid, right? But I can still see that same thing, 3 million.
This is the explanation. You got me to the next phase of my theory.
Right.
So how these politicians tap into Facebook? They tap into the algorithm. So
Not on purpose.
it's on purpose.
I think
they
John-
understand it.
I think-
They don't really understand why it works, but they know that it works because they're getting elected.
Feedback, right. They get
So
feedback.
what they do, they get into this loop of system, and people consume them through this system of addiction. And this is what they do. So when Bibi goes to the UN and shows like the bomb and stuff, he's not talking to the UN. The UN thinks that he's a fucking idiot. Who's this idiot?
Yeah.
Okay?
But
He
it's the
talks to the
audience.
to the audience in Israel. And he taps into the Facebook algorithm, into the system of addiction. And this is how they get into
So
the
the
loop.
the more stimulating the content is, it doesn't even matter if it's smart or
It's
not.
not even
just-
stimulating. It's the
attention.
If I say, I'm going to say something really bad. Okay, let's say I hate black people. Okay, I just say that. Okay, the whole next, my whole 4 sentences after that is like the people in Arkansas. There's 3 people that I don't like, but that sentence alone
Yes.
is very viral, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's going to get really good feedback. So if I'm going to give like a
Yeah.
logical answer, and I'm going to start with three people in Arkansas are really annoying, whatever, it's not going to get the same feedback, right?
Yeah.
The bad talkbacks are really
Oh,
helping.
for sure. It's like
Yes.
the whole there's no such thing as
So
bad
you-
PR. But what I don't understand is why wouldn't
It's
it
not
make
bad
people
PR.
hate you?
Oh, I explained because people want to be entertained. Like this is going back to what he's talking about. The short circuit is: do I want a better life or do I want to be entertained right now? Now, a lot,
very
like
depressing.
if you think of this theory not in Facebook controlling the world, usually about 1,000 years back, a king would invite. He's really important, a king, right? There's wars, things are happening, but he'd invite a court jester to,
Yeah.
It's a waste of time, right? You can go to sleep and
Yeah, but
go continue the war.
nobody made that clown the king.
No,
Now the clown's
no,
the king.
but the king has to put a priority. Am I going to invite the court jester now to like juggle, or there's a war in freaking Ireland? Let's take care of it. Like we are as people. I won't call it lazy, but we really like to be entertained. You know
For
what I
sure,
mean?
but
Yeah,
why
but
does
it's
it
worse than
it
this.
clear our judgment?
No, but it's worse than that because
It's
it's
worse-
taking it to
It was an evolution to get us to the point where we're all addicted into these machines. So
Yeah.
we are part of a grid of machines, of addiction. Now the politicians that knows how to link to this. And now the left wing of the world, which is logical, that wants to make the world a better place, that is willing not to
Hasn't
be...
tapped into it.
It hasn't tapped into it.
No.
Obama did this for a bit, but he was not...
Lost.
Yeah.
He
Lost
did
of
this.
it.
He understood it.
No, because I think of it, I'm against ammunition and guns, right? But I can see there's like these Russian YouTubers that try guns on stuff,
Yes.
which is supposed to be like honestly, it's supposed to be the thing that I don't want to watch.
Neanderthal.
But I love to watch it. He blows up stuff. It's interesting. I like to see things.
Okay, but, I mean-
but you're tapping into that, and then suddenly I'm not noticing. Maybe I want to try a gun.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's a stupid. Like, I'm giving a stupid example,
I
but
get
I
it.
understand what he's talking about as what Facebook is promoting today, as opposed to what you think he's promoting. So you're trying to connect people, but actually you're just
So
giving
in
them.
this thing, let's go back to Earth.
Right.
So in this way, I'm saying, okay, so what is my next startup? So I've been thinking about consumer product. I understood that if I don't create heroin
Right.
in a field, imagine that you need to invent a heroin. Let's say you want to do a consumer product. You need to invent an heroin
Right.
in a world that heroin exists and cocaine exists and
Right.
weed exists and everything, all this, and you need a new drug. Okay? And this is why it's fucking impossible today to create a new social network. Okay? So everything and anything dealing with consumers, it's like it's almost impossible because of this addiction.
Right.
Okay?
Unless you pigtail on something else, on another drug.
On another drug, yes.
Yeah,
You
so
need
you-
another drug.
He's
So
saying
I don't
to-
want to do it.
Yeah.
So I don't want to do it. Maybe someone else, you can do this. And it's a fair chance to succeed in this. And the major VCs of the world are not investing anymore in this field.
Mm-hmm.
So it means that you will not get funded from the major VCs, only from gambling VCs. So you're going to get stuck in the way. If you're going to need the heavy funding, you're going to get stuck, even that you have like... So it's
I get that. Okay.
So this is done, this
Okay.
area. So technology is almost done, okay, from my point of view of what you can do. So what is left?
What's left?
So biotech.
Okay.
So this is one thing that I'm doing right now. And the other thing is people. You know, the one thing that is becoming very annoying, very hard for me to accept, you know that there are 65 million people, homeless people in the world that are like, traveling between countries. No one cares about them.
They're traveling?
They're not traveling.
No,
they're
they're just-
plitim. How do you say plitim?
Yeah, they're not part of social.
Refugees.
They're not part of
Refugees.
the
Okay, okay,
social.
okay.
It's like the
I was,
biggest
like, imagining
refugee
a hobo with a
situation
bag.
since World War II. Okay? We are living in this age. And why does it happen? It happens because no one needs the third world countries anymore. We used to need them to be slaves. We used to need them to grow food.
Or diamonds or...
We don't need them anymore. We don't need these people.
Huh.
We don't, in humanity, doesn't need them in a way that it doesn't care. It doesn't even cover them in the news. Maybe 60 minutes once in a few weeks makes something about them. But no one cares. No one gives a fuck about these people. And it's going to get worse and worse. The worst thing that's going to happen is the autonomous cars. This is the worst thing that's going to happen to
Why?
humanity.
happened to humanity.
To humanity, yes.
Why?
Autonomous cars, because Uber is like it's. Let's say what's going on with Uber. Uber is like taking over the world in terms of
Because
like,
no one is going to have a job, or
they're not gonna have a job.
Yeah.
And who's these taxi drivers? It's the last job before you go to the streets. And when they're gonna replace these guys are still have enough, energy in their bones to retaliate with the weapons that they sell them. So the worst thing is going to happen to society is when the autonomous car is going to be operational and these taxi drivers are going to be at home, and they're going
bus
to be a war.
drivers, truck drivers.
And then they're going to be a war.
Okay.
So we don't care about third. We have powerful weapons in order to prevent, like building walls. The walls is built by the U.S. and by Israel and by many countries, even by Great Britain. Okay, building walls in order to block the zombies, like the people that no one needs.
Winter's coming.
They don't need the people. Okay, you can die. I don't care. Like if you look at China, you have like the people on the shore, and you have like the China bee people. They can die for all they care. Okay, they don't need them even to grow food, because the super farms and all these advance in the way that you grow like meat and everything.
Everything's being hacked.
Yes, and it's getting worse.
So what can you do about it?
No,
Biotech, I totally get, but that's
I cannot do, but I can invent some. I don't want to invent something that push this to the next level. Okay, so I had ideas that for automating stuff. I'm not going to give hand to this. So if for the next maybe 2 years, because I didn't optimize something, so people are going to have more jobs for another 2 or 3 years, I give my share
To humanity.
to humanity by not doing something.
Okay.
Okay, this is one thing. And the second thing is like finding drugs, not drugs in terms of what we talk about.
Yeah.
Like I'm talking about medicine.
Right.
So this is what I'm working on, one angle of medicine, and things have changed in the biotech. But it's a different conversation. How much time do we have?
Well, actually, you don't.
We're done.
We're
So let's sum up. We're over.
Let's sum up. Okay, let's do
let's
that.
sum up.
Let me just ask you one question after this, okay? What would you say is your kryptonite?
Okay, what holds me back? When you say kryptonite, I mean what holds me back?
It doesn't have to hold you back, because maybe you solved it by getting other people around you or something. But what would you say is something
Soft spot, maybe.
is flaw?
I'm going to translate it to what I'm afraid of right now.
Okay.
That I'm not going to have the energy to do something which is meaningful. This is what really scares me. That I'm out of energy. That the energy...
Do you feel that?
Yes, I feel it. That I'm afraid that I'm over my peak. That I did my stuff. And I see my friends that are very, very successful. Seriously, like leading the companies of $40 billion even. Okay, you can imagine what companies. Not many companies go to $40 billion valuation. And I see myself as unemployed, and I'm afraid that that's it. This is I did my stuff. I didn't succeed really. I didn't do something which is huge.
Huge money-wise,
That's
or...
perspective.
I did nice stuff. No, but I didn't create something which
But
is
where,
like
what are you
really
measuring
meaningful.
this from?
there's
Money
not a-
or...
No.
Of impact
value.
on the world.
Right.
I
Yeah,
didn't
okay,
do
And
any
your friends are
serious
making an impact?
WeWork is
That's
impact.
sort of-
WeWork is impact.
That's sort of like Mr. Burns there. A little
Yeah.
bit. Like it's perspective. But do you want me to analyze that on the other side? Because I think it's the opposite. I think that's your drive. I think every time you went to another mission, you were on that peak of saying, maybe that was the only shot I had, and that's your drive. That's actually not your kryptonite. I think that's your total motivation.
Nice.
You're hungry. But, yeah, so okay. Your thought process is really interesting. You sent me in a few brainwaves that I have to conclude afterwards and think about it. But
Process.
yeah, but like I'm going to ask you this, because I really enjoyed this conversation. So when do you think? Give me a timeline that the next time we'll speak, okay, you'll have the biotech news, the thing that you're going to do.
When I can tell you like the details.
Yes.
It's supposed to be in, I say, 6 months, 5 months. What I'm going to bring to the biotech is fast. This is what I'm going to bring.
Okay.
fast execution. And there is a way to do this right now, but it's a different conversation.
Okay, so we'll do it
have
in
to
a
do that. We
different
have to do that.
I'll
conversation.
be happy. I really enjoyed it. Thanks.
But
Thanks.
wait. I want to understand his superpower because I don't think I have that
Go.
crystal clear in my
Go.
mind. Like, what would you say is your superpower?
I want to say something. Okay, the superpower that everyone has. Okay, there is
Okay.
amazing superpower that you need to be realized. Who you give attention to. So the fact that I can decide that I'm not going to talk to you. I'm never going to talk to you anymore. Never. Okay, this is a superpower. Or the power to decide that I'm going to talk to Obama right now, and I can get to Obama and talk to him. Okay, this is a superpower.
But that's different, though. It's
This
deciding
is my superpower.
of what?
Understanding
Of
that
being
I can,
able to speak
I
with
can-
whoever you want?
Yes,
or
give me a target
time
to talk to
management?
Bibi Netanyahu now. In a week, I can do this.
So you can get to anybody you want.
Everyone.
Anyone.
Yes, you just need what you want to say, and you need to go on the chain of
And
people.
they need a pulse.
You need what?
They need a pulse.
You need to be alive, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, this is the basic thing. You need to be alive in order to do stuff. This is why I say on Steve Jobs. Yeah.
What?
If he was so smart, how come he's dead? Yeah. Let's finish with that. Think about it.
Okay, Ishay, thanks so much. That's great, and we're definitely
We have to
gonna talk in
reschedule
like
for
5
this. I'm
months.
so curious. And I hope we won't be doing it from a shelter, but he was saying it's about 2 years to that. So
It's
that's
faster, so we have to meet him right on the 5th month in a day. 'Cause
Or
in
book
2
a
days,
sheltered studio.
we can do that as well.
A shelter? I don't know. I didn't talk about shelter.
No, I mean for the Uber drivers when they're coming.
It's not going to take 2 years. It's going to take 10 years.
Oh, good. So we're good. 6
We're
months
good now.
recovered.
Very good.
Okay.
now.
Thank you, Shai.
Ciao.
Real life.
Superpowers.
Up in the sky, it's a bird.
Gentlemen, we can rebuild him. We have the technology.
It's alive!
Real life.
Superpowers.